Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Classic Album War. Today, we got a little twofer for you here today. Hope you enjoyed the Judas Priest versus Iron Maiden. This next one has been asked for by a couple of our viewers, and actually fairly decent battle here, I think. One of the bands I had already had on my list to go against another band, but then I decided that I kind of like this idea a little bit. And both of these albums are from 1975. All right, so the first one, Scottish Legends, Nazareth, Hair of the Dog. Okay, that great album cover. That's our first combatant. Secondly, and just don't mind my kind of twofer CD here, British band, blues rock and boogie act, Foghat, Fool for the City. That's actually we're talking about right there. Okay, both of these are fine albums though, but that's the one that we're talking about today. So both kind of different bands. You know, you got Nazareth, more of a much heavier band, but also kind of like a blues and boogie band, right? But they definitely were heavier. You can call, you know, a good selection of their music kind of early proto metal, whereas Foghat were much more of a blues rock and boogie band. A lot of slide guitar, right? A lot of blues rave ups, that sort of thing. But both, you know, popular right at the same time. Definitely contemporaries. Both of these albums would be the biggest sellers in each of their catalogs. Okay, so let's look at Nazareth first. All right, so some really great tunes on here. Arguably their strongest album top to bottom, but they have a lot of really strong albums right around that time period. You know, this is kind of when Nazareth were like at their kind of peak. You know, you got the Loud and Proud album, you got No Mean City. You know, all sorts of really strong albums that kind of came out right around this time. I would think most of Nazareth's 70s albums are pretty damn strong. Okay, it's when they got into the 80s they kind of changed their sound a little bit, and you know they've got a million releases since then. But I think most of their strongest material is early on. So, Hair of the Dog, title track, popular FM radio tune. Probably a song that they played live every time since they've released this album. A great tune. My personal favorite song on the album, my favorite Nazareth song of all time, Miss Misery, which is heavy. It's kind of like Sabbath, right? It's like a Black Sabbath tune. Great, heavy, doomy, proto-metal track right there. Then you got Guilty, another really cool tune, kind of a rootsier, bluesy tune. Changing Times, okay, another good tune. Good guitar riff in that song. And then you got the kind of 1-2 punch of Beggar's Day, which is a Nils Lofgren song, and Rose and the Heather, or Heather. Beggar's Day is really good. Do a great job on that tune. Whiskey Drinking Woman is a really cool, kind of gutsy, gritty, bluesy rock tune. I like that one a lot. Please Don't Judas Me is their kind of like long 9-minute doomy dirge. That's a kind of a really cool tune. And then the U.S. version of the album, not the U.K. version, but the U.S. version of the album also had their cover of Love Hurts, which of course became a huge hit for the band and helped catapult this album to, you know, platinum plus sales here in the U.S. Some other bonus tracks on the CD version here include My White Bicycle, Holy Roller, and Railroad Boy, all three pretty damn good, but they're actually not part of the original album, so I'm not going to use them in my kind of summation here, but a great album, definitely a top 3 Nazareth album of all time. I dig it quite a bit. All right, so Foghat, all right. So Fool for the City, another Platinum Plus album. This was also to be the band's biggest album. And, you know, a couple tunes on here made even more famous on their blistering live album, right? But what do we got here? You got Fool for the City, which is kind of just a cool rock tune. Catchy rock tune, good radio tune. Again, a tune that was played on FM radio quite a lot back in the day. Then you got some bluesy fare. You got, you know, My Babe, good bluesy rocker. Slow Ride, which is probably their most famous song. All right, with some sizzling slide guitar on this particular track, and a really great tune. Then you've got Terraplane Blues. All right, another good bluesy rock and boogie tune. What else? Save Your Lovin' For Me. You know, most of the rest of the tracks on this album are bluesy, kind of bluesy hard rock tunes with a bit of boogie. Drive Me Home, I like that tune a lot. And then, of course, Take It or Leave It, which is another one of my personal favorites on the album. Another great tune that just kind of showcased the kind of the raunchy flavors that the band always threw out there. And, you know, the sizzling slide guitars, you know. Lonesome Dave Peverett, okay. Roger Earl. Rod Price, the whole guys, and a couple of the dudes came from Savoy Brown, another great band. Not too much different from Savoy Brown, but I think a little more, the music was a little more accessible. But a fun album, as were many of the Foghat albums from this time period. Okay, these guys, along with Nazareth, would blaze the concert trails here in the U.S. quite a bit during those years. So these are both really, really good albums, right? But for me, I've always really favored the Nazareth album. Well, I shouldn't say I've always favored it because I haven't really thought of these two side by side. But I'm saying I'm a huge Nazareth fan. I'm a big Foghat fan, but I always, I'll in most cases I'll probably pick Nazareth over Foghat. Although I would tell you, Foghat's live album blows away Nazareth's. Although I wish Nazareth released a live album from, like, say, '76 or something like that, because that would have been pretty cool. The early '80s one is good, but the Foghat live album is one of the greatest of all time. But I think this studio album for me is stronger. I'm going to go with a 8th round TKO. Nazareth Hair, the dog, wins this one. But again, you can't go wrong with either. I love them both. So interesting to see what your opinions are on these albums, which one you like better and why. Nobody's right or wrong here. Well, it's a matter of personal preference, but they're both pretty damn strong and two great examples of harder rockin' music of the 70s. So visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. Check out the poll. We got these going at each other right now. Check us out on Twitter, and of course we are on YouTube every day. So we'll see you again tomorrow for another edition of Classic Album War. I'm hoping to get to it later today or tonight, maybe tomorrow morning, or it might be Thursday. I'm hoping to get to that big, lengthy Forgotten Favorites show. I mean, everything's just still sitting right here. I've just been so busy doing other stuff. So I hope to get to that over the next, either today or the next couple days, but you'll have it this week, without a doubt. This weekend, there'll be no programming this weekend. I've got a whole bunch of family coming in from out of town from Friday through Sunday, so I'll be incommunicado over the weekend, but then we'll pick everything up next week. Got some concerts coming up, so you'll be seeing some concert reviews. I'm going to see Joe Bonamassa next week. The week after that, I've got the Rolling Stones, as well as Alice Cooper, so you'll see some live concert reviews, which will be fun to do, and, all sorts of top 10 songs and things like that, so just stay tuned, all right? See you real soon. Bye-bye.